Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for July 4th, 2025. Happy 4th of July to those of you in the United States celebrating the holiday. Shout out to everybody watching this. I appreciate it. Normally, I do not go live when WWE produces a taped show, but I figured since on paper, this was a bigger SmackDown than usual, I would go ahead and recap the show and give my thoughts on the happenings and the news coming out of SmackDown. Let's get to it. We opened up the show, footage outside of Solo Sikoa's family arriving, but they were attacked, ambushed by Jacob Fatu, the former U.S. champion. Security had to come in and get Fatu away from the family. Then we had the number one contender for the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes, the King of the Ring winner, coming to the ring to cut a promo and discuss his victory. Cody gave a shout out to a fan with cancer in the crowd. And then Cody talked about the past kings of the ring, names like Bret Hart. And he talked about how the crown stands for where they are going. But before he could say any more, we had Randy Orton coming to the ring, who lost to Cody Rhodes in the final. Orton brought up how he hesitated in that match. Cody did not. He respects Cody for that, but he won't soon forget it. And he wanted a promise from Cody, a promise that Cody will not opportunity. We then had Drew McIntyre making an appearance, Drew's first appearance on WWE television since he lost the steel cage match at Saturday night's main event to Damian Priest. Interesting that Drew would return on a taped show. He made fun of them for being besties. He said it's beta male energy, and now the alpha's back. He tried to stir the pot between these two. He wanted to know what happened to the ruthless Randy Orton. He said the legend of Orton is dead. He then turned his attention to Cody Rhodes. He brought up how he wants Cody to win at SummerSlam so he can get a match for the title, and said he will not hesitate, unlike Orton. And at this point, McIntyre got hit with an RKO out of nowhere. Looks like we're getting Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, or not Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. And we had a little stare down between Cody and Randy Orton. We probably will get that match at some point. Good opening segment to the show, and they did confirm Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre at Saturday night's main event. Big match for that show. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, could Drew McIntyre winning in Saturday night's main event help Randy Orton turn heel? I think that's the right call. Like, are we really going to have Drew McIntyre return just to lose again? Now, granted, Randy Orton also lost at Night of Champions, but as you mentioned, WWE could book this in a way to build up a heel turn for Randy Orton where he's getting more and more frustrated. He goes on a losing streak, and maybe at some point he snaps. I feel like Drew has to win this match to make Drew as strong as possible and build up Randy Orton for that potential heel turn. We had a little stare down backstage between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, so there's still a tease for that as well. Another reason to keep McIntyre strong. And then Aldis made the main event Fatu and a tag team partner against two members of Solo's family. Jimmy Uso, of course, volunteered for the job. Then backstage, General Manager Nick Aldis presented a tag team opportunity for Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. If they win a match, they advance to Evolution in that four-way for the tag titles. Charlotte was not amused by this, but she reluctantly agreed to the match. We had a three-way, Charlotte and Alexa against Michin and B-Fab versus Piper Niven and Alba Fire with Chelsea Green at ringside. It was a solid match. Secret Hervis got in quite a bit of offense. Then B-Fab tagged in, did some moves. Then Alexa Bliss tagged in. We had things breaking down. Charlotte speared Piper Niven, and then she patted Alexa on the head, which the referee counted as a tag. So Alexa then, after Charlotte hit the moonsault to both Piper and Alba Fire, Alexa came off the top with Twisted Bliss. Charlotte took out Chelsea Green, who was on the apron, with a big boot. But as she was doing this, Alexa got the pin. Charlotte was like, whatever. She hugged Alexa, didn't seem thrilled, but was going along with the flow here. And they raised each other's hands. So yes, they're advancing. Could we see them win the tag titles as an odd couple? Possibly, but also I'm thinking you really need to keep the Judgment Day storyline strong. We'll talk more about that when we get to our predictions video, which will be next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Be on the lookout for that one. We're going to do Evolution and Saturday night's main event predictions. Wednesday night, I'll be predicting AEW All In with my Dynamite recap. That's all to come next week. Now, backstage, we had the tag teams arguing with Nick Aldis. Aldis set up Fraxium versus Andrade and Rey Fenix, and also made a match where one member of the remaining teams backstage would be facing the Wyatt Six in an 8-man tag team match. And that included the Garzas, who walked by with their AAA titles. We had that match. It was the Wyatts going up against Chris Sabin, Johnny Gargano, Berto, and Montez Ford. I liked this little match here. Doing this, having a bunch of random people teaming together against the Wyatt Six. This was good. Solid match here. They even did a little tribute to Luke Harper. That was from Uncle Howdy. And Johnny Gargano was trying to talk some sense, if you want to call it, into Dexter Lumis, but that did not work. The random team managed to work together okay. They all did super kicks. They sent Eric Rowan out of the ring. But then Wyatt Six made their comeback, and Chris Sabin was being worked on. Sabin needed the hot tag. Johnny Gargano, he got scared, and he again, and at that point, Sabin was done for. Wyatt Six got the win, and they have secured another tag team match, tag team title opportunity against the Street Profits. And that will be on next week's SmackDown in Nashville. And by the way, Jelly Roll is going to be on SmackDown next week. Apparently, he is going to be doing something more than just an appearance. That's the rumor out there, which wouldn't shock me if he does a match at this point. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $3.81 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. I appreciate it. Says, I like the lamp and the rocking chair. Yeah, it's a cool visual. I definitely agree with you on that one, Caleb. I wonder if the Wyatt Six finally get the titles, because what else do you do with them? Are they going to fail again? I mean, you can't really do another DQ where match gets thrown out. I feel like you have to have winners this time. So yeah, that's what I'm wondering. But yeah, they have that whole presentation, and we'll see if they get the titles on next week's show. Shout out to Ian, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ian. I very much appreciate it. Ian says, what are your thoughts on the TNA Knockouts title and women's NXT Slammiversary? That they're being unified. I thought it was just title for title. Honestly, I don't really care that much, to be totally honest with you. I have little to no interest in Slammiversary. Not really enough. I have enough wrestling to watch, and TNA is very low on my obligations and interest overall. But I would expect the NXT person to win. And I believe that's Jordynne Grace. Or Jordynne Grace is fighting at Evolution against, I believe, JC Jane is the champion. I'm not even sure who the NXT women's champion is at this point. I think it's JC Jane. And I expect Jordynne Grace to win. And then I expect Jordynne Grace to win at Slammiversary. So that's my prediction on that. But beyond that, I really don't have much interest in it. We had a video for Julia, who is the champion for the women's division, to showcase her. They aired a video package. And then we had a 4th of July video that aired, got a little bit of controversy on social media because some people were upset. Triple H posted the video of it, but apparently he didn't post anything about some of the other holidays and months like Pride Month and Black History Month, and that rubbed some people the wrong way. I know Vince McMahon always made a big deal out of Martin Luther King Jr. and would showcase that, and they did do the Black History stuff during the Vince era. So I don't know what that's about, but it definitely got some people upset on social media. We had Tiffany Stratton, the women's champion, come into the ring, and she was going to cut a promo about her match at SummerSlam and also who she's going to be facing at Evolution. She had the opportunity to handpick her opponent, but Jade Cargill, the Queen of the Ring, came out with her crown. She wanted to see who this person was, and Tiffany introduced Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. We last saw Trish at the Elimination Chamber event, and Tiffany did bring up the chamber, and she challenged Trish. She brought up how Tiffany gave her the opportunity to have a memorable moment in front of her kids at the Elimination Chamber. But Trish noted that her kids have never seen her as a champion. And Tiffany said that, unfortunately for Trish, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. And Trish is going to find out, like everybody else, that WWE runs on Tiffy time. It's a nice little match to do. I like the segment. I'm fine with the match. You know, they need some extra star power. TJS, the storyline here was that Tiffany got to pick her opponent. So she probably told Trish, you're my opponent. You need to come to SmackDown. And then she brought her out. Tiffany did introduce her. So I don't think it was anything illogical here in the storyline. It would make sense if Trish was the one picked, that she would make the trip to Pittsburgh and show up. I mean, they were hyping it up all week that Tiffany would be naming her opponent for Evolution. So I didn't really find anything illogical or weird about that. I think that's a fine match to do. We'll further elevate Tiffany as champion, but we'll talk about that when we do our predictions coming up on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We had a little video from Solo in his backstage room, wherever he likes to hang out with his family, and he introduced Talatonga, formerly Hikuleo, and he said they're stronger and more dangerous, and now his family is complete. Evolution, I think, is going to have 7 matches. It's a stacked card. A show, and we'll talk in just a moment. Sorry if I'm cutting out on people. I seem to be having a few technical difficulties. Backstage, we had a little confrontation between Jade and Trish Stratus, and then after Trish left, Naomi, the women's Money in the Bank holder, attacked Jade from behind with the briefcase, and this was the only time I noticed the piped boos. It seemed like WWE just went with the natural crowd reactions, and they were somewhat subdued, and they were bad on Raw, but even more so when you have 4 hours of wrestling. They were all right, but yeah, I definitely noticed more boos than I would expect in this type of segment here. Interesting choice to where they piped in the boos. And then Nick Aldis, they officially confirmed for Evolution Jade versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match. I'm all for it. I like it. Another big match. They've had this storyline going on for a while, and I expect Jade to win this one. But again, we'll talk about it when we do predictions. We'll elaborate further on it. I think it's another good match for the show. Evolution definitely stacking up to be a big one. Next up, we had Fraxium versus Andrade and Rey Fenix. I thought this was the best match of the show. Lots of high-flying action with these two teams. Some of the usual stuff from Fraxium, the dive train, doing the double team Phoenix splash, and the Spanish flying Phoenix splash combo. Fraxium got in quite a bit of offense, but then Andrade and Phoenix were able to regroup. Phoenix did the Adios Amigos and then did a dive over the top to Axiom. And then Andrade pinned Frazier with the message. A big win here for Andrade and Phoenix. They seem to be building up nicely as a tag team at this point. I enjoyed it. Good match here. Very fun. And Andrade and Phoenix seem to be building up some momentum. I believe this was, in fact, Fraxium's first loss on SmackDown. And yes, no days off for me. I was strongly considering a day off today, but then I decided to do the live stream. So there you go. We had a backstage confrontation between Aleister Black and Damian Priest, and it was confirmed that Black will face Truth next week on SmackDown. I have a feeling that Aleister will win. Aleister versus Damian Priest at some point. Then we had our tag team main event. Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo against Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso. Pretty standard tag match. They worked over Jimmy for a while. Then Fatu got the hot tag. And then Fatu was able to pin Solo Sikoa clean with the moonsault. Now, I'm just a little confused here. You have Solo win the title, and then you immediately have him get pinned. I'm not a fan of this personally. I mean, they should have just had JC take the fall here. Don't have your champion literally losing his first match after winning the title. I wasn't a fan of that. It makes Solo look like a really weak champion. But after the match was over, they did the post-match attack. and the numbers game caught up on them. It was 4-on-2, and then Solo had his family do the Shield power bomb, putting Jacob Fatu through the announce table. Is that a tease for Roman? I would think Roman is going to be dealing with Seth Rollins, but interesting that they did the Shield power bomb there from Solo's bloodline. And that was the end of the show. Solo's group got the upper hand on Jacob and Jimmy post-match. All in all, I thought it was a pretty good SmackDown. For a taped show, I did enjoy it. You had several moments I wasn't expecting for a taped show. They did Drew McIntyre with his return. Why would they do that? Why would they do that on a taped show? And also Trish Stratus returning, which I guess makes sense because Tiffany Stratton is the SmackDown champion. And really, you got to get the weekend before the show. Maybe WWE just felt with some buzz, Drew McIntyre's back, Trish Stratus is back, people would tune in, and that was their thought process on it. So in that sense, I guess it makes sense. And we had some good wrestling on the show. And it flowed better. 2-hour show. I was happy with the runtime of it. It definitely moved faster than the 3 hours. They got rid of the entrances were moving a little bit faster. Apparently, it was just straight 80 minutes for people that watched on Netflix, if you had the international feed. But on USA Network, you had to sit through all the ads. But out of 10, I thought it was a very solid, good start to the 2-hour era of SmackDown. Moved along quickly. For a tape show, I thought it was a fun episode of SmackDown. There you go. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you all so much again for watching and supporting the No DQ YouTube channel. And so stay tuned. And then we got a very busy July coming up with All In and Saturday night's main event and Evolution. Predictions to come this week. Tell a friend about the No DQ channel and just keep spreading the word. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend if you're in the United States and you celebrate. Take care, everybody. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.